This is Dr. Matt Parker. Today, let's talk about why you take your pet to the vet. So your pet, your dog, your cat, ferret, hamster, potbelly pig, whatever. I may say dog often because I'm so used to working with dogs and I have dogs. So when I say dog, I still mean your pet in general, or it even applies to yourself or your children, perhaps. So why do we take our pets to the vet clinic? I feel like there are two broad categories of reasons. The first one is kind of obvious. If your pet is sick or injured or something's really wrong, then they need to go to the vet. There's not much argument or discussion there. If something's wrong, they need to go to the vet. So that's fine. We can talk in more detail about those reasons in some other video, but that's fine. But the other second big reason why you take your pet to the vet is the same reason as we do a lot of things in our modern American society. We do them because we're supposed to, or somebody tells us to, or we're prompted to in some way without really even thinking about why we're doing it or without understanding what's being done when we get there. So this big second reason is usually because you've received a postcard reminder from the vet in the mail saying that little DOG or little Fluffy is due for something. There's about 4 main things on there that they may be due for, and they vary in their necessity. Some are good, some are bad, and some depend on the situation. So we'll talk about all those in a minute. But first, these reminder cards, they're prompting you to go to the vet. The vet's not really creating them. They're being computer generated. So last year when you went and you got shots or your annual exam or whatever, when they put that in the computer so that they can keep track of it and look back on it and have record of it, and so they can put in the appropriate fee, it also automatically generates a reminder to pop up a year later. So the computer sorts through all that, and a month or two before your year is up and you're due for something, it automatically kicks out a postcard that comes to you in the mail. You then call a vet or show up at the vet. They weren't there waiting on you. The receptionist hadn't looked at your file from last year and is waiting on you to come in. You're kind of a new, free, prompted customer to them. You call, hey, my dog is due for something, got a reminder card. They say, okay, great. So it kind of generates business and income for them. Now, I'm not saying that that's all bad. There's a lot of things about these visits that are very, very valuable. I just want you to know they didn't go through the files and they didn't think, oh, it's been a year since we saw them, we better give them a call. It was computer generated reminder, okay? So there's the first piece. So I said there's 2 big reasons. One is sick or whatever, which is, you need to go. The second one's the reminder. Now, what's on this reminder card? What are the big reasons why they want you to come in? I feel like there's 4 main things here, and we'll talk about each one individually in more detail in a later video. But for now, to introduce them, the biggest one by far is the shots. We'll talk about that more later. There's a lot to discuss there. It may take several videos, and there's controversy and everything. But the first main reason is the shots. So you have to decide, if you want them or how you feel about them. The second main reason is the annual exam. This is a good thing. I think your pet should be examined by a veterinarian every year or every 6 months to make sure they're doing okay and to try to catch things before they become a problem or before they become too big of a problem. And so you can talk to your vet about what's happening with your pet at home. There's a lot of value to that, and I feel like it's important to do that, okay? But to get your value from that, you need to be prepared. You need to be paying attention to what's happening with your pet at home and know what questions you want to ask. And it also depends on how busy your vet is and how much time they can spend in the appointment. Just like the modern healthcare system, sometimes you only get 8 minutes with your doctor, and that's not necessarily worth it. So we can go into a little bit more detail about that in another video too. So there was the shots, and the second one is the annual exam, which is very valuable. The third one is lab work, which I also think is valuable if done correctly. So that first option, your pet was sick, the lab work is going to be very important, and you should be prepared to do that. But lab work, just on its own, without context or something to compare to, isn't of much value. The lab work is just a snapshot of what enzymes and electrolytes are circulating in the bloodstream right now, but that doesn't tell you what's going on in the whole body or deep in the organs and tissues. So just getting blood work done or starting blood work on your 7-year-old dog at their senior visit doesn't tell you a whole lot unless something's already wrong and you've already missed a big opportunity to try to prevent it before it got worse. But where this annual blood work is really valuable, in my opinion, and a lot of vet clinics do it this way, but a lot don't, you need to start doing that blood work every year at 1 year of age. You do it every single year on your annual visit. This is where it's really valuable because you can follow the trend over time if some certain numbers are getting higher and higher or lower and lower. And that's where you catch things before they become actually wrong or bad or too much. So there's a lot of value to that if you do it every year. And there's more to that too. We can talk a bit more in detail about that in another video. The fourth main reason, so there were shots, annual exam, the lab work. The fourth main reason is the monthly preventatives, the heartworm and flea and tick preventatives. Now, me being holistic and into acupuncture and chiropractic and raw food and the things I'm into, I do not put those chemicals into my dogs anymore. And I try to recommend that people don't do it. However, it's all about the individual situation. I do a lot of things with my pets to make them healthy and to prevent parasites and to make them less attractive to parasites so I don't have a need for the chemical preventatives. If you're not doing all those things, or you go to dog parks often, or you live in a neighborhood where there's a ton of fleas from feral cats or something, then you may need the chemical preventatives. So it's not that cut and dry, but that's the fourth main reason you're going there, is they're going to sell you those or dispense those for the whole year. And that may be valuable for your pet or it may not. So the point of this is you need to know why you're going to the vet and why they're doing these individual things that they're recommending to you or wanting to do. So we're going to talk about each one of those in more detail in individual videos so that you can be better informed about why you're going to the vet and what you want to do. And I want to make it clear, I'm not trying to say don't go to your annual vet visit. I think there's a lot of value in that, and I think you should do it. But it's up to you to be the one who's the advocate for your pet's health. It's up to you to know what's happening with your pet and pay attention so that you can talk about these things with the vet when you're there and try to prevent things from getting worse. And so when the vet's recommending these shots or this blood work, you need to know what it is and why it is and what its value is to determine if it's the right thing for you and your pet to do or not. Okay, so we'll talk more about these things later. Thanks for listening.